I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think that people want to make sure this is done right. And that we have buy-in, but there's just no point, I've been through so many district trainings that are just a waste of time. And, you know, when I saw the video, I was just like, oh God, this brings back terrible memories, like I don't want to do something that's not gonna be really good.
Not accustomed to what you all want.
Yeah, and we have to realize that we have a culture here, and we have you know, we're not just a cookie cutter school. A cookie cutter approach isn't gonna feel right, it's not gonna work for us. We need to find something that's gonna feel right with our culture and with, you know, the style of the teachers and the experience of the teachers, and I think we can find something. I think we can find the right person or the right program or whatever it is.
And also from the conversation last week, is the teachers see the need for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the board to be worried that the teachers don't see the need for it, no matter how many years they've been teaching or how many years they've been part of the program, they see the need for it, and that's why I give space for Tori.
Well, one of the, I've been talking with Luke a little bit over the last year about, the Orton Gillingham training, which I plan on doing this summer. I'm hoping that RBC can support me in that in some form, because, but I am gonna go forward with it, because I had talked about doing it in April, but we didn't have the money, and anyhow, it is a multisensory approach, research-based, and I have a colleague who I respect greatly, who is the intervention specialist at Lagunitas. And so she has added layers to it, you know, and it has, so she's working with Open Classroom and Montessori, and so she's worked within the culture that has a lot of similarities to our culture, not altogether exactly the same, but also a situation where a program that is kind of black or white, kind of, this is an additional thing that you need to do besides everything you're doing, which is the feeling I got from the material. And she's integrated it, and it's very exciting, the things she's doing, you know, just it's physically interactive, which to me, you know, especially for our EL learners, you know, that's a key piece, and not just them, but.
Kids with learning disabilities too, it's great.
Yeah, and the program has a focus on, not the whole focus, but part of it is on how to identify kids with dyslexia and help support them in a fuller way.
How long is the training for?
It's a week.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I first read about the money that was being considered to spend on this, it actually for that, it would cover all the K1s, you know, me, the 2-3s, to do it. And whether or not that happens or not, I at the very least feel like it would be valuable to do it. And then, you know, have that could be a beginning, then we could start with small pieces in the lower classrooms.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah, and the other colleague that I trust is the main teacher at the Basic Learning Center, where I have worked regularly over the last few years. And they use it in their reading, so.
So then, if we're thinking about dropping this one, the process would be kind of teachers, staff go back, work together, and come back with some kind of a new plan and scope for the next, like the June board meeting, basically?
Yes.
Okay,
We
great.
have an early June meeting and a late June meeting.
And so,
I don't know if there's enough time by the early June meeting.
Well, that's all the time there is.
Yeah, we're running out
and
of
so,
time here.
is it this one you guys for sure don't like, or you just haven't had time to fully?
I didn't care for what I saw of it. I
Okay.
think there were parts of it that were really good.
Okay.
I think Erica looked into it and was pretty hesitant about it.
Okay.
I think Tori wasn't real
Okay.
fond of it.
Okay.
We haven't, you know, we
Well,
only just saw it over the
if we
weekend,
could
so-
get a recommendation from the teachers back
Yeah,
at the next meeting, that would be incredible.
yeah, I
mean,
think
that
that's
would be-
reasonable.
Yeah.
Could we just give maybe a couple thoughts as to take, for you all to take back as you scope it? Because I do think this was a bit cart before the horse with like, hey, how about this
Yeah.
solution, without talking about like, what are the goals first?
Mhm.
You do see some goals embedded in that, but I do think that's where your process should start,
Yeah.
is like, what is the right set of goals? And, having this one focused, I actually didn't recognize that it was just aimed at K1 when I read it in
K2.
advance,
Yeah.
K2. I really think that whatever we embark on in
Should be
ELA
K5.
should be all grades.
Yeah.
It should apply to every one of them, even though there might be different kinds of work happening.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's one piece you'll really stick to, is that there's gotta be something that every teacher and grade level is working on. And the other piece is, while we know we need to have an additional and special focus on English learners, I don't think that should be the sole
No.
focus of our ELA work. I think it has to be embedded within a larger effort around ELA.
Yeah, I agree with all.
I think it has to be targeted, I mean, it has to work for all of our kids.
Yes.
In some way, I mean, it, you know, customized for them, whatever, but it has to work for all of our kids.
And that's one thing
It has to
that
have something for all of them.
this
yeah.
program went, I didn't look at it in great detail, but I did look at it 2 or 3 times over the weekend, and, you know, it seemed very much like, okay, all the first graders are doing this skill this week, they're gonna be assessed on Friday, and then you move on to it was very structured and very, you know, we just have never had a class where all the kids are in the same place at the same time, so I think we need something really more differentiated.
Thank you.
The last piece on it is just, I would love to know, the extent to which you all wanna look at curriculum. And, whether that is a piece you'd like to
Curriculum's
build
part
into
of
it,
this.
yeah, to review what our current curriculum looks like, is it aligned vertically through the grades well enough? Is it consistent enough across each given grade band? And then are there new supplemental materials or things we wanna be looking at out in the world? It doesn't have to be that you decide the answer is yes, but I would like for that to be part of the scope of what's looked at.
Yeah.
I agree, and that's what
Yeah,
Tim was
absolutely.
speaking to
Yeah.
Great.
right before the board meeting.
Mhm.
Is like, that's what, one thing he said, it's like, this is what we've never done and what we need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, the reality is we're gonna need to spend some money. If it's curriculum, it's gonna cost money, so we need to be willing to go, okay, if this is the direction we think we need to go, then we need to be able to support that.
There are some really great free packages too, but I know it's not everything.
Yeah, and we can certainly look at those, yeah.
Good, all right, well, it doesn't sound like we're gonna be making a decision, on this item tonight, but I do wanna go out for, see if there's
We
any
can add it on to the agenda for next
Yes.
month.
public comment on this item before I close it out. Okay, seeing none, then I will move us along and, put this on our agenda for our early June meeting.
I wanna thank Tori for coming
Yes,
to
oh,
speak to
thank
both
you.
of those items,
Okay,
and for all the work that she does.
yes, thank you very much. And all the things that you do beyond your job scope. All right, we will move on to our financial update then, okay? And this is just an overview, taking into consideration the move to St. Rita's and the added expense of renting the facility there, an overview of the budget so that we can take a look at that and make sure that with a plan for 7 classrooms that is affordable, so. And, you know, we had a committee looking at that and we believe that we can afford the increased rent within this budget. So I don't know if anyone has any more comments or questions on that item.
And it's, one thing there's a reason why we're looking at 7 classrooms and not 8, is that we wanna make sure that we are conservative in our approach and making sure that, you know, if the enrollment doesn't come for 8 classrooms, which I believe it will, but if not, will we be able to make it with 7? We just wanna make sure that we're safe and we're planning on that rather than planning on hope. So,
So it's really important to be conservative and make sure that we could make it either way, regardless of what our ultimate decision would be on the number of classrooms. So, does anybody have any questions about anything there?
No, I mean, it all makes sense, it's well thought out, and, yeah, I appreciate, the conservativeness. And just making sure that, but yet that we still have the flexibility, if, you know, it's a really good position to be in.
Yes. Okay, it's not an action item, but I'll go out for public comment. Just what?
Just to make it clear, when you're saying 7, so the public knows, it's 7 homerooms, and then there'll be additional space like art and music and,
Yes.
Right,
All these other
this
things,
is a
so.
conservative budget saying if we
Right.
only had 7 classrooms.
7 teachers with 7 classes of
Right.
kids.
right, so it's not a total of classrooms, just to make it,
It's not
Clear
making
for
a
public
decision
comment.
about having 7 classrooms, it's saying if we had 7 classrooms, we
Right.
could make the budget work, and if we have 8 classrooms, definitely won't be an issue.
Yep.
Okay, so I will bring you back up and keep us moving along then on our agenda. The next item on the agenda is our application update. Kind of ties right into our prior conversation.
So we've had the red page. So also with just trying to be conservative and not just making not assuming, for example, that all 100% of our current kids are gonna come back. Because we know that not all 100% of our kids are coming back. There's a family moving to New York, there's a family moving to the South Bay, there's, but that's 4 kids right there who we know are not coming back. And based upon conversations I've had with families and hunches, I'm predicting that around 93% of our families will return for the next school year. And with that, we've also had 65 students register in the past couple months for the next school year. And we have more kids in process of registering right now. We have 9 kids in that process right now. We're not operating with any wait lists. That if, for example, we have 60 of those 65 kids who register, that if we have 80% of those kids come, that's 52 kids, and then you add that to the prediction for families returning, that's 174 kids. So that's a 7 classroom scenario. So that is one reason why we need to have that 7 classroom budget, because right now, that's what we have. Well, at the same time, there are families who applied before and who said they're and pulled out 2 months ago, but when they found out that we were moving, applied again. So I think we'll get some renewed interest with the move, but we just need to be careful about how we move forward. But at the same time, we also need to be careful that if more than 80% of the kids come, if 90% of the kids have come, and we have classes that are bursting at the seams, then that's a problem too.
We don't have space issues, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just curious, cause it shows here, possible 7 classroom configuration. If, cause there's some different combinations that we don't typically have. How is that for teacher? I mean, if it changes before school, right, shortly before school starts, is that,
Not preferable.
but is that just totally throw things out because then you're, or have you guys already talked about that and you're like, yeah, we can deal with that, we can make it work?
We haven't had
Kinda
deep
waiting.
we haven't had deep conversations, but it's something that we really need to be talking about starting this week. It's just, you are a K1 teacher, you may be a 1-2 teacher next year. It's nobody's preference.
Right.
It's hard, when you say, well, we're gonna project 80% of these students
Right.
might not come, well,
That's
you
right.
don't know what grade levels, it's not
Right.
80% consistent.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, what if this changes a lot, like, right when school starts, and all of a sudden within a week, you're like, you know what, we need to change how we do this.
But yeah, one thing I was just saying to Luke is, maybe like August 1st, we can do, phone calls to all the people and are you for sure coming and what's your plan so that we
Oh, that's an idea.
can have a
Yes.
better idea because
Right.
we're making guesses right now, we don't,
Right.
Well,
And
all
that's-
these people have been talked to on the phone, and
Right.
I've met almost all these people
Right,
at some point. So I think I have a pretty good sense for
Okay,
most of them, but not all of them.
okay,
And things change over the summer.
right,
We've seen that the last 2 years,
Right.
things change, where people seem gung ho and then, you know, they don't come, or other people we've never heard of show up in August.
Right.
I had a family 2 days ago said, oh, we're thinking about moving to Tahoe.
yeah,
So, and you don't know where,
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah, so, you know, may not be until August sometime before we have a better sense as to where.
okay,
it'd be preferable to be able just to say now, so people can plan and be
Right.
prepared.
right,
But we also have to be prudent,
right,
and,
Okay.
you know, I've been hired as a teacher in late August, right after I got my credential, because things changed in enrollment and,
that's how I got my first job.
yeah.
okay,
So, you know, it's a reality in education, you know, there's like the
Yeah.
Brookside TK program this year, that they didn't expect to get as many TK kids as they got, and they got a huge number, and then this large class size, so they came up with this little solution after the school year started,
Okay.
it's just a reality in schools.
okay.
Okay, is there any more comment up at the board level about this?
Just one thought that, given that we're moving to a new site and do have the ability to grow and hold more kids, I wonder if it would make sense to just, have a new wave of, advertising and outreach that's broader than just this town, but could go to families that might be interested in San Rafael or in the valley or
That's in
other
process.
places. Yeah, great. Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense to do.
Does happen, that's happening.
Great.
I also think that because we're a little closer into town, people might be a little bit
Right.
more
Right,
willing to, you know, make this
Yeah.
drive or, you
that's
know.
a big difference from all the way up here.
They
Yeah, when
just
you're
remind me of a
turning around
family
going
who
that way.
backed out, who lives in San Rafael, who
Mhm.
said they weren't coming because it was,
Mhm.
one, out of middle school, and two, a little too far down,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Francis Drake.
Now,
I'll call it tomorrow.
used to hear.
And take a helicopter.
Especially if you're driving this way and then turning around and going,
Yeah.
stuck in that traffic
Yes,
coming back.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll still be connected into the buses in some way.
Yeah, I've got confirmation that the bus would still,
Oh,
Okay,
good.
I'm trying to see if they could actually come also this way too, pick up kids who are
Pick up
coming
here
from
and then
the
back.
valley and this side of Fairfax and come down.
Okay, great.
That's awesome.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing no one then, I will bring it back up for our next item, which is our facilities update, which I think, you know, has been advertised now that we have signed a lease for the St. Rita site.
Yeah.
It's in the paper.
And so, yeah,
I
so
would
we're very excited
grumpy
about
and-
that.
yeah.
Of course, you know, this has all happened in a very short period of time. We didn't find out that Cascade was closing until the middle of April, and so we've been moving as quickly as we can to try to funnel all the various pieces of the process that need to take place when you're changing a site and coming to agreement on leases and so on. And at the time that we had to respond to the district for our Prop 39 process by May 1st, we didn't have a lease signed yet, and other various details that we continue to work on. And so, as everyone knows, we sent a letter to the district letting them know that we didn't believe that we would need to be occupying White Hill for next year, but that we were still in process. And we continue to work on some of those details, and, you know, it's our goal to let them know as soon as we can, when they can be assured that we'll be moving out. And we're working as hard as we can to finalize all those details that will make it possible for us to make the move, so. It's just been a whirlwind of activities. It's only been about 3 weeks since we found out Cascade was leaving the site, and so we're moving as quickly as we can because it's in everyone's interest for us to communicate our departure from White Hill and our move to into St. Rita's facilities. And so that's our goal. We will continue to you know, work through our list of things that we have to do and let the district know absolutely the minute we can that we're making that move with once we finish those pieces. So I know it might be frustrating to people, but we have to all remember it's only been 3 weeks. And we did miracle things when we moved into the site. We had 2 weeks to move in and open school, and we did it. And so, you know, if we can let the district know sooner than the end of June, we will absolutely do that. and that will still give them, 6 weeks before school opens.
Give them 2 weeks.
You know,
No.
we are working as hard as we can to let them know the moment we know. So, that's kind of the update where we are at this moment, and we would love to see that happen. We're very excited, and we think the community would be excited to have this space back for the sixth graders too. So that's what we're all working towards. So are there any questions or anything at the board level about that?
Well, here we're gonna just vote and approve the,
Approve the
The
lease,
lease, right,
yes.
I would just say, just as a comment, this is what we've been hoping for. This being in Prop 39 situation was never what we wanted. It's never what we wanted long-term, and it's beautiful that it's turned out this way, and that's what we were hoping for, so.
yeah, I just like to thank you, Luke and Sharon, for all of your many, many hours to expedite all of this as quickly as possible, and just the many hours that you put in. It's, I really appreciate it.
Thank you. My legs have gotten a lot of exercise and biking back and forth between here and St. Rita's.
Okay, and also all the while during these 3 weeks was like the most holy time for the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
They were very busy doing
Yeah.
things, so
There
trying to
are
set
things
up
that they said they
meetings
just could not
like-
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry, it's the
so-
Holy Week, yeah.
yeah, so we
No.
appreciate that they tried as hard as they could to work with us, but also had constraints and
Yeah.
that we had in terms of working with them.
And, yeah, they've got some nasty phone calls and people from our community telling them not to rent to us, and so I appreciate them for looking past that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for public comment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's just start over at the right, and we'll work our way.
I imagine you're probably talking to Cascade, but taking over some of their like tables, chairs, and structures and whatnot,
Yes,
Yes.
and possibly some of their students.
definitely
I
some of their
think that's
students
probably
are
gonna change
fine.
your numbers.
Yeah.
Good luck.
For a lot of them, it was, they put in a very good effort to try to keep the school going, and that's kind of why we found ourselves at the last minute scrambling. So I'm sure it's been very disappointing for all those who put in so much effort and time and money to try to keep the school going, to have it come apart at the last minute there, but we're working with them as closely as we can to.
And are you guys gonna need anything structurally for the move in terms of furniture or supplies or?
Well, we're still working
Sure.
with them to see, but yeah.
I'm sure we will, we're
gonna
not
be reaching
certain
out
yet,
for
we're waiting to see what.
what they have and what we need, and, yeah, thank you. We'll call on you. Meryl?
I know that, that the board, like, this is something that everybody's been hoping for, and that we're really grateful that we've been able to have this space, as our own soft landing, while, we're in the startup phase of the school. And I have been thinking about, some way to express our appreciation to the district and to the White Hill administration and teachers. So that's something that, I think we'd like to do from the parents, but also just in the communications, I know legalese is the order of the day between RVC and the district, but just it would be great to make sure that our gratitude shows through in our communications about moving on.
I was talking with the White Hill staff member today, and I was talking about how, I was joking that we're just gonna get 8 U-Hauls and just park them in the parking lot, and just load them up and just drive away in a day. And she said, well, you should get a party bus for us too, that just comes in right behind, that was her suggestion, is our way to think. But yeah, I think that's a good idea, cause I do appreciate the fact, this has not been easy for the district or the White Hill community to share the site, not necessarily like willingly, and that's just the reality of it. And I appreciate Rick Van Alsberg, the principal last year, and Matt, Mr. C, the principal this year, have been great in working together and keeping it, nice on the campus, but it'd be nice for the sixth graders to have this building back.
I'm glad, I'm glad we were able to find some place within 2 years, that's great, cause we all acknowledged all along there were not that many places in our community where we would be able to find another home, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Worked out for us.
So what is, how long does it take for the state certification? Like, is this something that's gonna try down through, I mean, I just don't know how long that takes. And then, second question is, how do you drop a Prop 39? What is the mechanics for that legally?
I don't know exactly.
I mean, I don't know if anybody knows, I don't know if anybody's,
I don't know if we know either, and that's, we're trying to work that through with the district, assuming that they do want the space back, that we'll be able to reach some type of a mutual agreement to make that work. And, that will test our skills working together over the next month and a half to see if we can make that work to everyone's benefit.
And then with the state bureaucracy, we'll
yeah,
find
I
out.
don't know,
Yeah.
the state, right?
Yeah, we'll find out after it goes through, all the vacuum tubes and.
So have you gotten the punch list then, or what needs to get done, or is it just still sort of,
No, we're still waiting. for
okay, so, and
response.
and you said you just started this process 3 weeks ago, so
Yeah, and maybe carrier pigeon.
you probably have some more information next month.
Yeah, so, but, we're hoping that we will have a definite answer by the time our lease would run out here. And we wanna make that as quick, happen as quickly as possible to give the district as much opportunity to get in the space as possible, so that's our goal.
Sure.
Yeah, along those lines, you had mentioned when you were presenting that you wanna let them know as soon as we know. What are the items that you don't, what are the unknowns that you've signed a lease.
Yeah, I think we
So
just talked
that's-
about a couple of them, though, the letter from the state.
There's like ADA compliance and different things that they have to approve before
Okay.
they can move in, and they haven't given them a complete list, I think, right?
Are there,
So we're waiting on that, and
are there other things besides just the state stuff?
there's just other miscellaneous things that have to take place during the process of making a move, and so we're just working on all of those as, again, I'll just repeat, we just found out 3 weeks ago, and so some things we're just having to go through and find out what we need to do in order to make it work, and so we're working through that process as quickly as we can. And as we get more information, we add other things to our list of things to do, and we cross a few things off, so.
Don't know what you don't know till you get into
Yeah.
it.
It would have been nice to have known a little earlier in the year, but we're moving as quickly as we can because we want it to happen for everyone, so.
Yeah, we were on that track earlier, but, I think the Cascade community really wanted to make a concerted effort to make it work, and which they should have, so.
And it
Maybe
looked
they
like
could-
they were going to, and so we had kind of figured that was not gonna happen for us this time, but it did, so here we are.
Maybe they could do a Prop 39 and move in here.
So, that's where we are, we're moving as quickly as we can and trying to get it all taken care of so we can let the district know as soon as possible.
But yeah, we would like to be there, and I'm sure that the district would like for us not to be here, and I think that could be generally agreed upon.
Are there deadlines on the other end besides the June thing here for this lease?
No.
What do you mean by the other end?
I meant with the lease, like certain clauses in the lease that say you've got 60 days to do this or 30 days to do that or anything like that.
They have a clause in their lease that required an approval at the higher level of the church, that was May 31st, I think.
But that happened.
Yeah, so so we're just moving along with the other things that we're identifying as we go along. Okay, so I pull it back up to the board level then, and this is an action item for us to finalize the lease. supplementary materials, and we already, I mean, it's already been authorized that he does it on our behalf, but this is our opportunity to confirm that, so. Do I hear a motion for approval of the lease?
I move to approve the lease.
Okay, a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One absent. Okay, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is board vacancies. And John's position is becoming vacant because he's no longer gonna be a parent. So we're starting to have those conversations about openings that are coming in. My term expires the end of June. And Cheryl, who's not here tonight, has agreed to serve as a nominee for the parent position, and we're going to have elections from the parent community for that seat before the end of the school year. And then you've agreed to remain on the board in the position that Cheryl is currently in, which is the teacher's representative. And the teachers have nominated you for that position. And then, and I've agreed to serve another term beyond the current term. So we will be acting on this at a later meeting and after the parent nominations and so on come in. But I think we can act on John's position tonight, right? Is that what we?
Yes,
But the parent one in my term will come at a later time.
because John would be coming in as the parent, the teacher representative, and he's been nominated by the teachers.
So that doesn't need to be voted on, but,
Right.
okay.
It actually lists that, we could renew Sharon's term now,
Mhm.
says that's
That's
an
true,
option.
we could do it at this meeting, because it's also not one that's elected by the parent group, so, so we could do both of ours tonight. But we have to leave the parent one until after they have their election. Okay. So is there any discussion at the board level?
I have just, one comment, well, thank you, John, for staying on in a new and different role. And I just also wondered if we, like, how strict our rules are about the slots that people have on the board. That, like, I think that someone like John should be able to stay on the board even after his child is no longer at the school. And so I guess I would say I'm thrilled that you're willing to be a teacher representative, but I also don't, like, in my opinion, that wouldn't be necessary for him to be a valuable member of the board.
And
so-
have more board members. if
That's
we
what I
want.
was just, I just
Right.
wanted to raise the idea of, like, couldn't our board get larger
Yeah.
over time? And wouldn't that be okay? And it's actually nice to have an odd number of board members, so.
Mhm.
We used
Maybe
to
we
have
should keep that
a
in mind.
much bigger board,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think,
For two more.
yeah,
And we also talked at some point about having a board member who was really more representative of our English learner community. So I don't think that we necessarily have to, stop at 5.
okay,
We can continue to work on development of having more board members anytime we want to.
great.
I'm talking with people, including Marilyn, who's great, hoping to find people. She's found so many people for the school. Employees and kids, and just kind of seeing, it'd be nice to have 2 more board members again.